The stage is set, and your final test is right up ahead. Your family, your friends, the entire region is watching you face the final obstacle that stands in your way from entering the biggest tournament in all of Pokemon history. But to even think of that dream of yours, you have to look at the nightmare in front of you. One who has crushed people's hopes of one day becoming a Pokemon champion. And that person is none other than me. My name is Pokey, and today I'm going to be making the final test that stands between you and the championship belt, my very own Pokemon gym. So not only will I be talking about what my team is going to look like, how my gym is going to be formatted, but you guys are going to be able to battle it to see if you guys can actually beat my team by the end of this video. So that's enough of me rambling. Let's start off with the format. So first, let's explain the way my gym is going to work. The first stipulation is my gym will be set in the Kalos region, meaning the Pokemon you'll be able to use has to come from Generation 6. The second stipulation is I'll be able to use the entire national dex for my full team of 6 Pokemon. Not only that, but you and I cannot use any legendaries or mythicals. Hey, I never said it was going to be easy. And it gets even harder with the third and final stipulation. Not only will the format be a double battle, but nobody can Mega Evolve during the entire battle. So that means no gimmicks are available to you, but that also means I'm not able to use Megas either. I chose Gen 6 for you guys primarily because it's my favorite generation, but my gym will also be a water type gym. So just keep that in mind when choosing your Pokemon. But before we start with what my team is going to look like, you will decide who's going to be your starter to take with you into this battle. You cannot change it afterwards. Luckily, Professor Sycamore was kind enough to give you a starter from Generation 1, since in the X and Y games, you were actually able to choose a Gen 1 starter of your choice. Choose wisely because you won't know what my team will look like just yet. I'll give you guys a total of 5 seconds to choose a starter. Chose one? Perfect. Now you will receive a choice between 3 Kalos Pokemon after each of my own Pokemon that I reveal to you. I'm a villain, not a monster. Even I have kindness. Now let's start with the first Pokemon on my team. Of course I have to give myself a starter, and funny enough, this starter is not only from the Kalos region, but also my favorite Pokemon ever, Greninja. Now my Greninja is a special one, because not only will he be my ace Pokemon, but he will have an ability that people know very well, Battle Bond. No, not that piece of garbage. I'm talking about Ash Greninja. What's that? I said we couldn't use gimmicks? Well, technically it's Greninja's ability, so it doesn't really count as a core mechanic like Z-moves or Megas, so yeah. Not fair? Well, guess who doesn't make the rules? Now my Greninja's moveset is primarily going to focus on utilizing its versatile moveset, but also some powerful hitting moves, that being Water Shuriken for priority, especially since during the Ash Greninja state the Water Shuriken move gets boosted, Ice Beam for coverage, Hydro Pump to ensure a KO so I can activate Battle Bond, and U-Turn just in case the matchup isn't in my favor. As for Greninja's nature, I'm going to be using Timid, just so I can make sure I'm outspeeding pretty much all Pokemon. And as for its held item, Choice Specs is obviously the way to go, just to maximize my chances of activating Battle Bond. Now that I told you my ace, you're allowed to choose one of these Gen 6 Pokemon. Choose wisely because the options you don't choose gets removed forever. Your choices are Pyroar with Moxie, Diggersby with Cheek Pouch, and Furfrou with Fur Coat. Keep in mind you'll be able to adjust their movesets in nature, but you cannot change their abilities. I'll give you 5 seconds to choose your Pokemon. Alright, got one? Perfect. Now let's move on to my second Pokemon. Another one of my favorite water types has to be Rotom-Wash. It's not only my favorite version of the Rotom forms, but also a very great Pokemon overall, since its only weakness is grass. Obviously, the ability is going to be Levitate, and on top of that, my nature will be modest to maximize my offensive capabilities. As for Rotom's moveset, it will include Thunderbolt for stab, Hydro Pump for a powerful water type attack, Rain Dance for setup, and Protect just in case you guys try anything funny. As for its held item, because I'm running support moves, I'm not going to be using a choice item, but instead a Rindo Berry. This allows Rotom to survive incoming grass type moves to a certain degree. Now that you know my second Pokemon, you're allowed to choose a new Gen 6 Pokemon. Your choices are Vivian with Shield Dust, Aurorus with Refrigerate, and Aromatisse with Healer. Now as for my third Pokemon, I'm going to be using a Pokemon that has one of the coolest designs in Gen 7, that being Golisopod. His nature will be Adamant to maximize offensive pressure, as well as obviously having Emergency Exit as its ability. For its moveset, I'm going to be using First Impression for stab, Liquidation for stab, Sucker Punch to compensate for its low speed, and Poison Jab for some pressure against grass types. As for its held item, I'm going to be using a Life Orb to bring out its full damage potential. Now you know the drill. Choose one of these 3 Pokemon. Trevenant with Harvest, Gourgeist Supersize with Frisk, and last but not least, Go-Goat with Sap Sipper. Alright, let's move on to my next Pokemon. My next team member is going to be one of the best water types introduced in Gen 7 in my opinion, and one of my favorite poison types overall, Toxapex. Now, Toxapex is going to be the first support Pokemon on my team, so for that reason, we're going to give it a Relaxed Nature for the defense boost, as well as giving it Regenerator for more survivability. The moveset is going to include Liquidation for stab, Toxic Spice to inflict poison, Recovery for survivability, and Baneful Bunker, because why wouldn't you have Baneful Bunker on a freaking Toxapex? And as far for its held item goes, we're going to give it a Sitrus Berry for even more survivability, because you can never have too much of that. Now here are your three choices: Noivern with Telepathy, Dragalge with Adaptability, and Doublade with No Guard. Alright, now it's time for my 5th Pokemon. Now my 5th Pokemon is also going to be a starter, and it's actually my second favorite water type starter behind Greninja, that being Primarina. Primarina is going to have the Liquid Voice ability, and is also going to have a Modest Nature to maximize its damage output. Its moveset will include Sparkling Aura for stab, Moonblast for stab, Ice Beam for pesky grass types, and Icy Wind for speed control. We're going to give it an Assault Vest to help with its special book as well. Now friends, we're reaching the climax. Choose your second to last Pokemon: Avalugg with Own Tempo, Floette with Symbiosis, and Klefki with Magician. Alright, it's the final stretch. Now my last Pokemon is probably one none of you will expect, and I'm putting this one for the memes, but also because it's pretty good. That Pokemon, my last bet, is Jellicent. If you guys haven't realized yet, my team is pretty slow other than Greninja. That's where Jellicent comes in. Not only will its ability be Curse Body, but it's also going to have Leftovers and Bold as its nature for survivability. Jellicent is going to help cover for my slow team with this moveset in particular: Ice Beam for grass types, Will-O-Wisp and Recover to be annoying, and last but not least, Trick Room for setup. Now my friends, it's time for you all to choose your final partner for this epic showdown. Who will it be? Your choices are Claunster with Mega Launcher, Carbink with Clear Body, and Malamar with Infiltrator. Your time is officially up. Now everyone, it's time for all of you to test your team against your final obstacle to see if you're even worthy enough to be called the Pokemon Champion. Grab a friend or even someone from the comment section and have them use my team against yours in Pokemon Showdown, where you can all simulate the epic battle that was always meant to be. My team will all be in the description. I'm sorry to say, but you can't win. Or can you?